Hi empaths, welcome to Heart Space Wellness Alliance. Here's my healing room. Let's get started. Hi empaths, welcome back to my healing space. We're going to get into another reading. Let's tune into the tuning fork, clearing our energy fields, invoking angels, guides, compassionate ancestors, and any beings of the light that want to inform this reading for the most concise, helpful, valuable message that's taking priority right now. Good. We're going to pull an angel card to see what's priority to. It's from the original angel cards. Light. Light. Shining a light in dark places. Illumination of those parts of us that are kind of blind spots helps us grow to a more well-balanced person, and also initiates the healing of any wounds, right? When we shine a light on our wound, it helps us with healing. I'm feeling called to look at the life purpose oracle cards by Doreen Virtue to see what about light. What about light? Oh. More information about light. What do we need to know about light? Anything else? Any other cards that want to come out? We're talking about light. What do we need to know about light? Okay. So the first card that comes out is animals. You understand animals and communicate with them intuitively. Trust your inner guidance, as the animals are part of your life's work and strength. Everything you've experienced in your life has made you strong and courageous. So there's this intuitive ability when working with animals. Being shown, there's a picture of a wild horse running over here in this room, and what's coming to mind is this workshop with Alison Armstrong about relationships, and it's she teaches about understanding men, because sometimes it's difficult for women to not project onto men their rules for life, and not sort of understanding the differences and acknowledging them. So I guess working with horses, I've never taken this course, but she offers this course about interacting with horses, because they're so in tune and intuitive beings and sensitive to your vibration. So there's this idea of being able to putting your vibration and manage your energy, right? So much of our communication is unspoken. So what she does is she has this one workshop. Again, I've never attended, so I'm not fully in understanding of what exactly takes place. But as far as I understand, it's interacting with horses in a way that helps inform the interaction with men, and for women in this workshop. Very interesting. But there's something about that understanding that you're able to attain from your connection to animals. It might be a specific animal, or it might be just animals in general. You just feel more in tune and connected to nature and that system, right? That ecosystem. It's just, it makes sense to you. You see the connections. You understand the wants, needs, and desires, and it helps inform your experience here. As a human, you understand your place, and are able to have compassion. And it sort of forges this inner strength, right? This maybe sense of community that you didn't experience, right? Sometimes we find belonging with animals, and they replace our interaction with humans. But also health and family is coming up. Healer, you have the spiritual gift of healing and a desire to share it with others. Family, loving your friends and family is central to your life purpose. So there might be something in understanding or seeing the way animals bond. Like I was saying about the workshop with the horse, maybe there is something about seeing the way animals bond in the wild. And that helping you make sense of our need for connection, how to connect, the energy needed to connect with somebody, the things that are unspoken. How do I show up and manage my energy field in a way that does connect and doesn't push away, right? Because there are ways of, we can communicate the same message and in one way and be inviting, and then say the same exact words, but say it in a way that pushes people away. So maybe there is this intuitiveness about energy. You can see it in the animal kingdom very clearly and make sense of it, and then use it to help inform the way you show up and create order, right? Healers, and maybe it is valuing animals to a point where you want to help them, like as a veterinarian or alternative medical practitioner for animals, because you see their place, right, in our system, and you see their importance, and you value the love they're able to share and give people that don't have a sense of community, right? So you're called to heal and help animals, or you're called to somehow connect people with animals for therapeutic purposes. And that could be in the physical world, right? With the service animals. That can be owning like a puppy cafe or whatever, kitty cafe where people come in and have animal time to heal. It could also be working with animals in the spiritual plane, right? With spirit animals and things, and helping people connect to their spirit animal, the energy of animals. Maybe helping people who are timid get in touch with the inner tiger and fierceness, right? Something like that, like incorporating animals in that so that people feel more connected, right? Connection, wanting to feel like we belong. And there's a strength here in that. You're being acknowledged to shine a light on the connections here. Animals aren't that different than us. They have a need for bonding too. See, their cycles are different, and maybe it looks different. But we can learn from them if we observe, right? Let's go to the archetype cards and see what part of ourself wants to add some information or be looked at here, wants to take the spotlight, right? What part of ourselves are we looking at here when we're talking about illuminating? Illuminating our ability to bond, our need for community, our need for connection, especially in this day and age where we're connecting more with media and we're missing out on human interaction. It's not the same, right? It's why we become addicted, because it's not satiating in the same way. And maybe that's part of it too. If we look at animals, they're generally not really engaged with the technology, right? So we can kind of see, unless we've kind of set them up to be, we can see, oh, this is maybe a natural way of bonding, and learn from that. What aspect of ourself wants to come out, shine a light, so a couple of aspects wanted to come out. Trickster and mentor. Trickster, transcending convention. These are the light attributes. Transcending convention, stuffiness, and predictable behavior. Animals are very good at that. Shadow attribute, manipulating others through duplicity. I was just thinking about how self-image can come into play, and thinking about do gorillas have an identity crisis, or is it very clear I'm a gorilla, right? And then I think about Cat Williams' stand-up routine about the lions in the zoo, right? And how he personifies the lion as having an identity crisis because he's captured. I think there is something to that, actually. I don't know if, I mean, do we know that they have the same sense of self-identity? Not really, but I think that's interesting. Like, I don't know why that came in. But seeing how like a fierce tiger, its motives and agenda is clear. It's not pretending to not want to hunt, right? And not tricking the prey. There's a fair chance, right? For the prey to get away because it's not being tricky about it. It's very clear that that's the circle of life here, right? So tricking and painting a different image can be harmful. I mean, but we do it all the time, right? And then mentor is coming out, the light attribute, passing on wisdom and refining a student's character. The shadow attribute's inability to allow the student to move on to the rule of master, imparting false instruction. Interesting. Very interesting. Because it came in about that class, mentoring people about the way they show up vibrationally. Is sort of about putting the ego in check, right? Managing our urge to come forward and overtake with our agenda. You're going to be forced to work with an animal that powerful. You're going to have to listen to what they want too, right? It's not going to be, and a horse is so in tune, you're probably not going to be able to trick it with what your intention is. It's probably going to feel that, sense that. And interesting how mentor is about bonding. And whenever we are lacking a sense of belonging and bonding with our family of origin, we seek out a mentor, right? Healing. And animals can be mentors too, in a way. Mentoring us. That's funny. I was in a training with a teacher named John Bellew. This is actually Biosonics is his company, his tuning fork company, sound healing. I learned the elements from him. I learned a lot from him about all kinds of healing, including sound. I was trained in sound and music facilitation. And he talked about how dogs model happiness for us by wagging their tails, because there are, I think he said, cells on our tailbone that vibrate when we're happy. I'm not sure. I need to look into this further and further research it to be sure. But he said something about Cells on our tailbone, when we're happy, they vibrate. So when a dog comes to us and is wagging its tail and is happy, it's modeling for us happiness or and unconditional love and bonding, right? We bond easily to a dog. It's not trying to trick us, right, into feeling like it cares about us, right? It's not trying to trick us. It has genuine affection, unconditional love. And I'm imagining a golden retriever. So imagine a dog like that, I guess. Just so happy and unconditionally loving, teaches us, right, in many ways, mentors us. And then eventually that relationship comes to an end, right? All relationships are impermanent. So really, really teaching us through that modeling. We can learn a lot from animals in that way. And that's part of the reasons service dogs are so powerful with mental health and things like that. It really helps us feel bonded, right? Bonded to another being that we feel we can trust because they don't have this kind of energy. It's pretty clear, like, if they want something, what that is, right? They're pretty covert about that. So it's just easier to trust. And so we might be called to look at that within ourselves. Where are we being covert with our intentions? And maybe presenting one way and actually wanting something else? And can we learn from that transparency and that ability to just take a yes and a no, right? Be able to celebrate a yes, and when there's a no, all right, well then I'll re-strategize. I'll figure something else out. There's something about that too. And expressing what it is we need. Learning to express what we need. I'm just seeing like a dog whining and trying to explain to us what it needs, right? Whining, it's communicating. I had a golden retriever growing up. He was an angel, like just an angel. He interacted with different people differently, right? He wasn't the same with every person. He was sensitive. He was very gentle with the elderly. And I lived near a home for the elderly growing up, and when elderly people were taking their walks and he wasn't on a leash because we were playing catch, he would go up to them and he could sense they were afraid of him, and he would just gently nuzzle their hand and run away. He was just so loving. What a beautiful, beautiful dog. And my mother named him Sherlock because he was always investigating everything. But and then with my aunt, he would wrestle with her and like be really aggressive and like playful, and because he sensed she could take it. He was very gentle with my grandmother, and with me, he was playful and loving, and he would let me know if he needed held and cuddled, and when he was hungry. It was like I felt very connected to him. It was like one of the first times I really felt truly bonded, right, with something, right? Truly bonded and very trusting. And if he wanted to be pet more, he would put his hand on me, and you know, it was like he was communicating. It was like learning to express needs directly, I think, was part of that. And in a way that's just, he was so lovable, like very, very lovable. Not just because he was cute, but just he was very, very cute. But also just because it was clear he was just so unconditionally loving. I think that that's, but he also had boundaries. Like he would let me know if he didn't feel safe, right? He'd bark. And so there's something about learning from animals in that way. Because sometimes it's just like we don't know how to human. You know what I mean? It's, how do I human? Is it just that easy to just express what I need and be okay when the answer is no, and find other means? And we're learning, right? We're trying to learn this. This is not an easy path. We're managing. We have a lot to learn from animals. So let's get some tarot cards and see if there's more information about this topic. Oh, that's going to be too many. Any tarot cards? I just want like three or four tarot cards from the Rider-Waite deck that want to give us a little more information about light. Light, illumination, mentor, okay, thank you. Thank you. So the first card that comes out is the Three of Cups. This is a celebration card. This is about community, right? If you look in order, this is right after the Two of Cups, which is a partnership coming together. And this is like the wedding celebration after. So, yeah, people coming together in community to celebrate together, celebrate life, celebrate their differences, to bond properly. So there's something to that. And then the Ace of Swords is coming out. And this is about a newfound truth or communication, a new way of thinking about something, or a new perspective. This is, the swords are about the mental plane, right? A thought, a belief, a communication, maybe a message about the fact that we are a divine source, and what brings us together is light, is that we are light. If you see the crown there, and do you see like the little yellow, I guess they're sparks coming down near the handle of the sword. I guess this can be an indication of aligning, like much like the sword, in that we bring the light energy down and anchor it, much like a lightning rod, right? So grounding down while still aligning at the crown helps to bring that, anchor that light down. And then the King of Pentacles comes up. And this is mastering life on the physical plane. This is mastering money. This is mastering resources. and mastering self-care, nurturing. This is a very nurturing king. And it looks like there are animals represented here. It looks like cows. With the horns there. You can see there's two at the top and then of the throne, and then two near the hands, the arms of the throne. So in that sense, there are animals represented. And the scepter is like a ball of light, sort of accessing and accumulating light and anchoring it down. And certainly the yellow, right? Illumination. Illumination. And you can see like the animals that are represented there are near the crown, right? Almost like the animals are representing, are reflective of our connection to divine, as they sort of symbolize that crown. Whereas the king is adorning it, it's just kind of part of who the animal is, right? What the animal was designed to be and do. That's interesting. So it's about really mastering that, mastering our life here in the physical plane. It also looks like he's stepping on a helmet, or maybe the head. He has his foot, if you can see that, he's stepping on That might be something to do with control, and the mentor, you know, the inability to allow the student to move on to the role of master. Exerting control over somebody, or in this case, a being that we have an idea isn't as important. Accessing the energy of the animals in a compassionate way. I say that because that's sort of my view. So I don't want to push that on anybody else. I was watching the movie last night called The Deer Hunter. Have you ever seen that movie? I mean, it's really intense. If you're sensitive, it might not be for you, but it's basically about this man. Its character name is Michael. I wanted to watch it because Meryl Streep was in it, and I'm obsessed with her, and I think it was her first major movie role, but he was an excellent shot, always known for catching a buck, right? Anytime he goes on a hunting trip. And he and a couple of his friends, I guess, were drafted into the Vietnam War, and then they take a long time in the movie to show this wedding celebration, right? And I kept thinking to myself, and it takes place in Pennsylvania, ironically, and that's where I'm at right now, and in the Allegheny Mountains. And I was, why do they show so much of this wedding celebration? I mean, what is going on? Because I can't really just sit and enjoy a movie. I just dissect it. I know I annoy my parents. I'm like, wait, what is going on right now? Why do they have New York accents? Like, isn't this Pennsylvania? So I was confused, always asking all these questions. And then, so generally what happens is he goes to the Vietnam War and is like a war hero, right? Because of his mental strength and ability to focus, and that I assume was sharpened from, or just maybe exemplified in the movie by his ability to hunt and understand intuitively what the animal was going to do and follow it and kill it because of that strength, right? And then he goes to the Vietnam War and sees so much death and killing and is tortured himself, and the psychological abuse and everything that goes down. And then at the end of the movie, going on another hunting trip and coming face to face with a buck and purposefully misfiring, and just being like, yeah, I didn't get it. Wasn't able to get it this time, guys. And they're like, what? You? And it just, he wasn't able to kill again after that experience. I found that so moving and interesting because my grandfather was that way. My uncles, I had a few uncles that were very interested in hunting, and he explained to them, I can't do that with you because I experienced so much killing in the war. So, it wasn't the Vietnam War. I can't remember if it was the Korean War. But he fought in a war, and my uncles were really interested in hunting. And he said, I can't do that with you. I can't kill again. But I can send you to your uncle who can mentor you with that. And I didn't know that about my grandfather until his funeral, when my uncle, who was into hunting and things, got up and delivered that speech. And I was just so moved by that, that he wasn't judgmental and saying, this is wrong, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't kill. He was like, I can't, this is not in alignment with my values right now. You're not wrong in having that desire. I'll pass you on to a mentor, right? I'll pass you on to a mentor that is able to show you how to do so in that way, but I can't kill again. So, very interesting. And then watching The Deer Hunter made me really think about that. It was very, very hard to watch. I'm not suggesting you watch it if you're sensitive. We got to be careful about what we digest. But very moving. And again, I watched it for the actors. It's Robert De Niro, Christopher Walken, Meryl Streep, and just a great cast, very phenomenal cast. I was sort of like, I guess the Pennsylvania dialect is hard to take on, but I was a little disappointed that they didn't go for it, but I understand. Let's see. Where are we at? So let's look at a crystal. And since we're talking about animals, I'm going to use the Animal Totem crystal deck, crystal oracle deck. It's crystal information and animal totem made by healingcrystals.com. And see what animal and crystal want to come out and shine a light on our reading about light. Elk, fire agate. Wow. Elk, fire agate, camaraderie, stamina, balance. Fire agate is a very interesting crystal in that agates are kind of known for their gentle energy, right? It's not going to be this harsh, intense vibration, but it is very fiery. You can see in this image, it really shows up in video. Is this going to focus? But you can see in this image, if it'll focus, the fire there, right? It has a glow, it has an inner fire, light, right? It has light. Getting in touch with that aspect of self. And this sense of camaraderie is so, it's interesting that that's what comes up because this is what's in representation of that, right? A community and family, right? The camaraderie of community, which I guess elk exemplifies, right? And fire agate helps us get in touch with. And balance and stamina. This King of Pentacles is about balance, right? In the physical, he's balancing his foot on the head of that animal, which I think is made of stone. So it is just a representation. I don't think it's the actual head of an animal. But it triggered all those associations for me. So it is learning. Oh, and elk. The spirit of elk, teach me how to pace myself so that I have the strength and energy to reach my goals. Thank you, Aho. Maybe being in touch with our light, our source, is what will give us the stamina, right? Our fire, inner fire, will help illuminate the truth for us, what's true for us, and help shine a way. Let's see what essential oil wants to come through. And inform this reading about light. Siberian fir. Acceptance. We must remember is the trigger statement. And then the true statement, I am free of the habits that do not serve me. Lay down the armor passed down to you from your family. Damn. Release habits that are not serving you and forgive on behalf of generations past. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Healing ancestral wounding and patterns while building a sense of community. If we can handle the conflict, we can be more present. If we handle the inner conflict, we can be more present with reality. And that's something we can learn from animals. I hope this reading was helpful to you. If it wasn't for you, please share with someone you think it could help. More information in the description if you want to connect with me on other platforms. Many blessings to you. I'll see you in the next reading.